Hey, welcome back. Schools across the country are taking part in March is Reading Month, and so are we right here at NBC 25. Joining us this morning, Jennifer Heronema, with the president, or she is the president of the Legacy Center in Midland. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for bringing all of these fantastic materials with you. First up, March is Reading Month.
Yes.
How important is that to our schools and to our kids and parents?
Well, it's really very important even before they get into school, because we find the readiness gap for children entering kindergarten is very significant. So it's really important that we intervene very early with materials like what you see here to get their brains stimulated going forward.
Now, of course, we want every month to be Reading Month, Jennifer, but let's talk about this month specifically. We're focusing on getting our children to read more.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right.
And how do we go about doing that?
Well, we've actually developed a program called the Preschool Tool Totes that you see right here, and we're actually working with WIC organizations in the Great Lakes Bay region to take this program to at-risk kids in the community. And what it does, it really focuses on basic skills like reading, numbers, colors and shapes and things like that. So it gets their brains stimulated in the really early years before they get ready to go to school.
Now we can hope and only hope that at school that they're doing their job and getting our kids up to par, but we're home more often than we're at school.
Yes.
How can parents step forward and just a book a day? You know, some
right.
parents say they don't have time, but maybe a book a day will help.
It only takes 15 or 20 minutes a day to sit down with a child, and you can read to them, and pretty soon they'll start reading to you, and you can go back and forth, and it's a really great way to get early intervention and get involved in your child's education.
And coming up, Jennifer, I kind of want to talk about things that we can do. Like when we're going through a number book, don't just read the book.
Right.
Maybe point, maybe ask them questions. I want to know, what questions do we ask our kids?
Okay, great.
We're going to talk about that with Jennifer coming up in just a moment. March is Reading Month, Janet. Welcome back. Schools across the country are taking part in March is Reading Month, and so are we right here at NBC 25. Joining us this morning is Jennifer Heronema. She's the president of the Legacy Center in Midland. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
We kind of talked about what March is Reading Month is. We're encouraging parents and schools to get our children reading. Every month should be Reading Month, Jennifer.
I agree, absolutely. And some of the things you can do with the kids is when you go through the books, you know, ask them to name other things that might start with these letters, or recognize these letters when they're driving down the road or something like that. You know, when they see street signs and things like that. There's ways to interact with the kids that kind of bring the books alive for them.
Let's go over maybe the first page here that we have in this book, Brainy Baby you have.
Right, well, if you think about the letter A, you see in the books a lot of times the apple represents that, but there's airplanes, there's all kinds of different things in our communities that you can point out to kids. When you're sitting in a doctor's office or something like that, there's books there, there's different things that they're seeing, and it's part of their everyday life.
How are the kids learning? Is it memory? Do they, how is it?
I think part of it is memory when they're very young, and then after a while they start to learn what the sounds actually represent, and it gets a little more complicated as they get older. They learn skills about how to sound out words and things like that. To
the parents, busy moms, busy dads that are working, that say, you know, gosh, when can I find the time to sit down and do these with my kids? What is your
You
advice?
have 15 minutes. You should have 15 minutes to spend with your kids. I do with mine to this day, and that's all it really takes. And again, when they're young, you get started early, and it becomes part of your daily routine.
Now, do you suggest the shape books, the color books, the letter books?
Right. You know, especially for preschoolers, they need the basic, you know, letters, the first, you know, 9 or 10 numbers of, you know, that, and colors and shapes. Those are the basic things that allow them to be ready for kindergarten.
And one thing that helps me as we're leaving here, I have those bath letters that whenever she's in the bath, it's always my time that I go over A, B, C, you know, and she's catching on. She knows interactive. She's only 2, and she knows a good 10 letters just by looking at them, Jennifer.
That's right, yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming in again today from Midland at the Legacy
Center.
Legacy Center. There we go. It's a long name if she were to say the whole thing, Janet.